is up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we will be playing ladder. I'm actually on an insane win streak. Finally got a top ladder deck maxed out, and that is Giant Double Princes. It's getting nerfed tomorrow, so I'm kind of an idiot, but it was the first like legit deck I've been able to, or like really good deck that I like a lot, and that I was able to max out. So just scroll down, then I'll watch a couple replays, and then we'll go into to live battles. I'm currently 415 in the world, so not bad. But I haven't lost a game in a long time, I believe. Yeah, so that was kind of a really difficult matchup, but yeah. Alright, so I have one loss on my entire thing. The rest are all... I wish I could serve this golem matchup, but I can't, because that's a hard counter. But I can't, unfortunately. What does go through those though? So this one was kind of difficult just because, I mean, he has Ice Wizard, NATO, and Inferno Dragon, so there's not much for me to do. Also, my deck always allows hog hits. Really, the only advantage you have versus hog is you can get some counter pushes sometimes, but like 2.6 counters this deck, for example, and that one obviously counters it, so I'm not really going to show that one. In some of these giant matches, I think I have advantage, so I don't think I'll show either of those. So in this 3 Must deck, he does have mini P.E.K.K.A. And just because I've had people ask me about this matchup versus 3 Must before, I'll show it. I think I have advantage. You just have to play it smart, for sure. So starting the game off with log. So with this deck, he also has a low pump, but I'll show it anyway. Sorry, trying to get the angle right. So yeah, you're gonna want to pressure it when they pump, or you're gonna want to fireball the pump. It depends on your hand. But so in this hand, I'm gonna go in pretty hard with the Prince here. So I had already played Dark Prince, so I couldn't zap that in time. But that's not too bad. He's gonna end up having to play Miner, so pretty well defended by him. But even then, I get quite a bit of damage. So I mean, that's the best he possibly could have done with that elixir. I guess he could have went ahead and went Ice Golem here, but I don't really want to push again because I know I'm down in elixir, relatively speaking, since he has the pump up. So I'm gonna cycle spells. Then I'm not gonna go into for another giant because I'm down, so I'm probably just gonna take this fireball instead. And I also don't know why he put those together, because he could have got one more. I would have fireballed it regardless of where it was, but he could have gotten one more elixir. He didn't want to take fireball damage on the right side, I guess. Kind of understandable. But as a result, I'm only down like 1 elixir. But I'm gonna let him make the first play. So I purposely leaked there because I thought he was gonna go 3 Musk. And the reason I leaked there because I thought he was gonna go 3 Musk is because versus 3 Musk, when fireball isn't in cycle, you always want a giant in the back on the 1 Musk lane, so you can stack troops on that side and push into it without being threatened too much. And then by the time the 2 Musk gets to your bridge, you'll already be back to fireball, and then you can just fireball them. And if they don't support it, you don't even have to log or zap, you just fireball. So that's a really good trade. So that's the strategy versus them when they split in the back. Always try to push into the 1 Musk side if possible. I didn't fireball it this time because I know he's got 3 Musks, so I was waiting for... So I played Dark Prince in the back, and I was thinking, oh, maybe he'll play 3 Musk in the middle. I can fireball all 3, because you can do that if you're really quick. But he ended up not doing that. So now I'm going to go for a giant push. And I was assuming that he would 3 Musk in the middle, so I'm going to be hovering fireball constantly as I'm playing units. And then he ends up playing them right there. I think I go ahead and take this on the 2 Musk just to get rid of them so I can get my push through. Yeah, and see now he's kind of panicking. I'm going to have to let him get that damage on the other side. But the pressure is really nice here, and I'm getting up in elixir quite a bit. And he ends up, for some reason, he tries to go in and instead of defending there. He probably could have defended more, but as a result, that is enough for me to win, and I win that one. Probably show like 2 or 3 more. So that was a draw. I messed up in that match, I think. Expo, you should win pretty easy. He also misplayed, I think. So Sparky, I don't really have a hard counter for on defense, so Sparky can often like shred your attacks. So we can show this one. Also, Balloon, I only have 2 air counters, so if they're smart, then they get out of rotation. I probably should have cycled Zapper Log here, but I was lazy and didn't feel like waiting. Mega Minion Start is kind of risky because you only have 2 air defenses, so I wouldn't recommend doing that, especially when he has Balloon. But if he had gone Balloon, then that could have been hard for me. Nice Fireball here. He ends up having to zap because the boiler wouldn't have killed the Electro Wizard, so I bring it back there. And then I know I'm only like even or slightly ahead, so here I just take the boiler damage because I don't want to get behind no elixir and allow him to build like a counter push. So at this point, I don't know he has Sparky, so I play a Giant in the back. If I had known he had Sparky, I wouldn't have done this. But now I know. I think I'm gonna go with like a Mega Minion, because otherwise I'm just giving him more value on the Sparky. Yeah, so my thought here was, I thought the Sparky was far enough up that I could reset it and then have Ewa's lock on, but it was not far enough up. So that was actually pretty bad for me. I'm lucky the Mega Minion ended up taking it out. All that said, once again, I'm going to take the bowler damage. Or do I? Yeah, no, I take the damage, but then I have a counter pushing Dart Prince. I honestly could have just ignored that there. I kind of like how this ends up, though, because he ends up playing Sparky to counter the Prince. And then I immediately go Giant opposite lane, because Sparky is his like biggest threat to my Giant. And I still end up getting a charge on the tower anyway, but now he's not going to have the elixir. Because I'm going in so hard, there's a really good chance that he doesn't have the elixir to support that Sparky. And as you can see, he ends up not being able to get Giant out in time. So now I'm able to easily just counter it with an Electro Wizard. Do I go Dart Prince first? I could. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this was very purpose. So obviously Electro would have been nice there, but the reason I did that was because I didn't want him to have an opportunity to balloon. So I wanted it to either be in the Dart Prince lane or the Electro Wizard, because I thought if I played Electro Wizard on top of it, he instantly goes like Giant Loon, and then my Mega Minion's not enough. So, and then right here, he just goes in back, and then that's a bad timing for him because I can easily just push and end the game, not even having to worry about defense because of how much time there was in the game. So yeah, those two plays were like me capitalizing. So yeah, but I wanted to make sure my Electro Wizard was threatening the other lane so that he didn't have an easy opportunity with my Electro Wizard out of cycle to punish. Alright, so lots of draws, yada yada yada. This matchup, especially when they have Tesla instead of Cannon. Actually, I mean, Cannon can be difficult too. It's just really hard. It's usually a draw, so just try not to lose that matchup. With the new overtime, it may be impossible not to lose it, but yeah, they just cycle too fast and have too much good, like solid defenses. That's a tough one. Log bait, I mean, I have triple spell. Hog Mortar is one I should show. Log bait again. Drew versus Spawners. Giant Xenado I beat. We'll go Hog Mortar. Alright, so right here, my thought process is I'll go ahead and go Giant. It'll lock on, but then if he does, I have all my spells in hand, so if he does anything, I was just ready with my spells. So I immediately Fireball, and as a result, I get a lot of damage. I will say, though, this log is an overcommit because of the Giant's health. So that was basically already dead, and as a result, nothing really like comes out of it. So I could have been better off not using that log. I'm up, I mean, I'm even in Elixir, but I could have been up. If I had ignored it and then just went Giant again. So that could have been a nice like continuation of the like early success I had there. Alright, so we're going Giant in the back. I'm going Dart Prince instead of Prince because Dart Prince is harder for him to stop. So it just applies more pressure, but I take more damage, but I'm okay with that. I immediately zap away the bats. And then he ends up in this really awkward situation where he didn't want to Ice Skull in there, but he wanted to play Mortar for the Hog. I mean, for the Giant, so he ends up actually taking damage from the Dart Prince. And if Dart Prince had locked on a Mortar, I would have been kind of okay with that as well. This Fireball should have hit the Mortar as well, but I missed. One moment. Alright, so I'm going to start Giant, Mega Minion in the back. Don't want to play Giant because Mortar. Just yet. Oh yeah, I end up playing it in front. Oh yeah, so this is another thing. This guy was really aggressive. Sometimes it's probably better for Mortar players, honestly, to defend. But if you ever get the opportunity to split push, do it, because then they only have Elixir for Mortar and they don't have Elixir. They either can only play like Minion Horde, or they can only play Mortar, and they really need both to defend effectively. So if they ever give you the opportunity to like trade pushes, then just defend with one unit on the left side, and then that's awesome for you. And then now, I'm pretty much ahead on both sides. So once again, he does it again where he goes opposite lane, and I'm mostly going to actually I could have gotten away with, yeah, but I counter push well. Yeah, because I space troops well there. I was gonna say, I think one more time he goes for an opposite lane push and then I trade. But yeah, I mean, especially with like one tower, if you can both take a tower, like tower trades are always nice. Yeah, so right here I'm just gonna bum rush the left lane while he tries to take right because I have 86 on that tower, so I'm gonna take it anyway. Yeah. And then I figured he'd play Minion Horde here, so I was hovering Fireball. And I ended up taking towers, both towers, and that's a solid win. Because that can be difficult, even though you have triple spells at times. It would be harder for me if you didn't have Fireball, but... Alright, and then we'll quickly go through this, and then I'll play a match or two. So it's Xenogenesis Giant versus just normal Giant triple spell. So I think he has advantage just because Xenogenesis can be tough, but it's just all in how you play. So I didn't have a Giant here, so I didn't like go with my own Giant. He didn't have the Elixir to Fireball. It was unfortunate there that his Mega Minion, even though we both zapped, his Mega Minion ended up winning against mine because it locked on a Giant. As a result, that Ewiz isn't as healthy as it could have been. He would have had to waste Lumberjack, and that would have been nice, but... Oh well, overall, I'm still slightly ahead. So something that's really important to note in Giant mirror matches is you always want to be playing your Giant in the back if possible, because look what he did. He played his Giant in front, and as a result, he doesn't have his Giant in his hand. And I do this on purpose, where I purposely try to get them to not have Giant in hand. And I always try to have, that's a nice Fireball, but I always try to have my Giant in hand, because what happens is your troops end up just almost always getting some damage or being a really big threat. And it also sets up spell value a lot of the time. If you start yours from the back and then you have this stacked up push, you almost always win. So even though he has fire, I mean, also I know he has Xenogenesis, so now I'm going to be careful for that. But yeah, you want to start the Giants from the back, and then if they do decide to go opposite lane pressure, a lot of the time you just lose your tower. Just let it go, and then either play Mega Minion or Prince on his support troops, and then that'll push and threaten his left side while you also take his right side. So starting your Giant in the back is like almost always the way to go in the Giant mirror match. There are obviously like exceptions when you have counter pushing troops and stuff, like late in the game, but early on, like you always want to be starting with that Giant, and then you want to be playing your troops at 10 elixir in the back so that they're making contact with the enemy's tank as they cross the bridge, as you can see here. And then right here, I'm not playing a second troop because I don't want to give him Fireball or XE value. So instead, I'm just going to let my Prince take that out. And then finally, I go with an Ewiz, and then I know he's about, and I also sniped his Executioner. I actually thought that Ewiz was going to be enough to kill the Executioner. So that's why I went with the Fireball, because I thought his Tornado would be wasted, but then it ends up being okay because my Prince gets some value. And Prince ends up being really good here. I think this is one of the situations where I will play Giant in front, but that's because I didn't have it in cycle and I had Prince coming towards me, and I kind of have the tempo at this point. And it's more of like a single elixir thing where you don't want to play your Giant at the bridge. I always want to be playing it at the back. It was unfortunate but yeah, right here he tanks it. Even if he had played anything else, it would have been rough for him. So I'm just going to bridge spam at this point because I've gotten such a large advantage. And I have tempo, and then I end up connecting both Princes. He isn't able to get his Xenogenesis out. And that just was a case of like being smart with how you play the Giant matchup. Woo! Alright, 416, 5396. Let's play one or two here. Hopefully some fun matches and I don't tilt. I may edit out the in-betweens here. I guess you won't know, or maybe I won't. That wasn't bad. Alright, so with this hand, I'm gonna wait. Then I'll just zap tower. I have my Electro Wizard, so. Okay, he probably has a Giant Hunter. This is close to an even matchup. If he has bridge spam, this is gonna suck. Alright, so this is kind of like what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go this at the back here. And then... So the Mega Minion doesn't lock on? Yeah, okay, cool, it didn't. And then I'm going to go in this lane. Ewiz is kind of meh. But as a result, I have a really nice damage amount on both towers. Like I said, giving that tower up is always the way to go. If they rush like that. Hunter was kind of rough though. It made my Giant really weak. And he has Prince and Hunter for some reason. Yeah, he has huge advantage in this matchup because of that. But, we'll persevere. Why do you have Prince and Hunter? Oh, is this the one with like Ghost in it or something? Hopefully that gets hit. This will be nice because it'll knock away the hunter, and maybe the giant will get a swing. Bit of a misplay from me there. Alright, at this point, I can be pretty defensive. Gonna take advantage of that E-Wiz. If he has a fireball here, he won't have elixir or do anything else. Even same with log, honestly. Bit of an expensive push there, but all we have to do is defend now. I think that'll be good enough. Whew, glad that went to the king tower. Close. He has hard counter, so I'm glad we won that. Alright. Just because I showed so many replays, may end it on that one. Yes. I do have to go now, actually. But that's a good one to end it on, honestly. And 338, almost top 200. If I get to top 200, I'll probably create another video on this deck before the balance changes hit. And then after the balance changes hit, I will then have 5 new decks for you guys that I create or find to be successful for the new balance update. Thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I got to share this ladder win streak with you. I think, do we have all victories? No, we have 1 loss, right? And then some draws on the thing right here. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.